guys, welcome back to Chill and Chat with Cerise. Today I have on a great guest, very interesting, and I just want to say thank you to the producers of the show because we got also some attire. We have a nice chaquete.
Yes. Costume malfunction, I think they call it.
Costume malfunction. Yes. So guys, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you are looking to be a guest here on Chill and Chat with Cerise, give me a shout. I'll give you all the information at the end of the show. But for now, we have John Reid. Welcome.
Thank you, Cerise. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Now, I have this wonderful book in my hand, and it is called The Spiritual Electrician.
Yes.
You wrote this book.
Yes.
I have been reading it. As you guys can see, it's really well worn. I made all my marks in it. I know it's a good read if I have to go and get myself a highlighter. And I did. At the China Tienda, I was like, I gotta highlight some of this stuff. It's so great.
That's really, really nice to hear because it's early stages yet and I'm still looking for feedback because there's a lot of information in there and you don't always know, have I gone too technical or too high, and people are not going to make the leaps to understand what I'm trying to get to. And so I need the feedback as well. I'm like sort of interested in what people think. So.
It's great.
Yeah.
I like the way you pace it, but before we even get into all the pacing and everything, I just want to tell you guys what it's about because it is about spirituality, but it's not one of those reads where you're chewing on stuff that you don't know about or you won't be interested in. You draw the reader in by explaining it very technically. And maybe that's your electrician mind. You were an electrician, and you are. So tell everyone, introduce yourself and tell them why you even came up with this title.
Yeah, it's a long story, but pretty much I started off when I left school in England as an apprentice electrician in a factory when I was 16. And, at that time, like tradesmen, working class guys, you don't talk about spirituality and metaphysics. It's just not on the horizon at all. And if you did, you'd be, you'd make yourself a laughing stock.
Right.
So it's just not what the red-blooded male. Maybe things have changed now because I'm 65 now. There's a lot of time passed, and things have changed. But then you would never talk about that sort of thing.
Like the alpha male.
Yeah. You just don't talk about that stuff, right? It's normally a woman stuff. That used to be a female thing. Like my wife was definitely very spiritual. She never talked about it. She was just you just knew. She had this deep knowing, and when she said something, it was like I realized she's probably right. And I'd be thinking, and she was, and so I thought there's something. What has she got? What does she know? And she doesn't even talk about it. It's just there. And then I had some experiences through my life where I had to start questioning things like spirituality, and there's more to just what we see in the physical world. And I have an inquisitive mind. I always have. It's very restless. So I'm sort of always looking at new things and things to excite me or entertain me. And so these things, but you're busy when you're younger. I was 24 when we had our first child, and you're just busy making a living, paying your bills. You don't have time to think about anything else. And so, but then things sort of happened, and when I was about 30, 31, I think it was, that's when I had the dream that's in the book. And the dream, and even then when I had this dream, I couldn't do anything with it at the time because there was no internet, because this would have been in the, I think, early 90s. So there was no internet then. I had no one to talk to about it. I wouldn't even talk to anyone about it anyway because it's just something you don't talk about. But what happened, the dream, I've now got people so interested they want to hear about the dream. So I had a friend we'd met through the kids at school. My wife Mandy met through the kids at school, and they went to the same swimming lessons. Turned out he was a very intelligent man. He had a PhD in biochemistry, and we became sort of friends, and we would hang out, the families would get together and spend the night at his house and whatever. And I asked him one time, for some crazy reason, I had this interest in quantum physics. Right. And I'm not an academic, but I asked my friend, I said, do you understand like all these Einstein's theories and all that? And he said, pretty much, yeah, I've sort of grasped that. He said, if you really want to know more about that, go to the library, because there was no internet, go and get this book called The Dancing Wu Li Masters. And so I did. I went and got the book, and he said the book is about trying to explain all the quantum experiments and tests and things they've learned over the last couple of 100 years, try and put it into layman's terms so you can understand what they're talking about. And I got most of the book, but there was still some parts I couldn't quite grasp. And I went to bed one night, and it's something I don't do. I don't normally, I'm not one of those that, can you give me a sign, can you tell me in my sleep? I've never really did that before. But for some reason I did, and I said, can you help me understand this? And then I had this dream. It was very simple. It was just, in the dream you never know how long it takes, but it was like 2 seconds. And it was just like out in the middle of space, like just a blackness, no stars, just a blackness with a streak of light, just going like a beam of light streaking across. And I'm like, but with it came information, right? With it came all the information behind that, and instantly I'm like, oh my God. It was sort of trying to say, this is how your reality actually works. Part of it anyway. And what that was saying to me was, it said that light, which we would normally, science would say to you is photons moving in a stream. And we all go, yeah, sure, that's what it is. It's a little beam of light traveling at the speed of light. It's a beam. And but the dream said, oh no, it's not that. It's there's nothing moving. And you go, what do you mean nothing's moving? This is crazy. But I was given the information at the same time, and it's basically if you like, I hope people can understand this, but it's consciousness. It's like a sea or an ocean of probabilities, and when we observe something, it acts how we expect it to. It can be anything at any time, but when we observe it and expect to see a beam of light, it gives us the beam of light. So we're actually affecting this ocean of probabilities. And so, but at the time I'm thinking, no, you can't talk about this to people. Like, it's just they haven't had the download, they haven't had the dream. It's just pointless trying to explain it to anybody. And I never had the inclination to at that time. But things later started coming in from the internet that I'm going, oh, this is starting to make sense now. And so basically, the beam of light. Let me try and say this. It's more like a rope light. You know, the rope lights you put around your deck, and the lights move along the rope light, but there's nothing moving, right? It's just timed flashing. It's just the lights flashing at the right time to give you the illusion of moving
that
lights.
They're moving because they're just really just staying there.
Yes, and they just it's the timing, right? You go on off. It looks like they're doing this, right? Moving. So that's like a rope light. So that what was explained to me was that's the same thing. So basically, what it was also saying is when there's no motion, as in like consistent, seamless motion, it's a bunch of, it's pulsing at billions and billions of times a second, and it's in our. And I think you can correct me on this, but I do believe science they understand that too. It's not just like a picture on the screen you turn on and it's just there. It's actually pulsing very, very fast, and so there's an on-off time. But so that's where the light, it looks like it's traveling. It's pulsing. So it's like celluloid film. You know, like you've got the film and they're individual fixed pictures. Right. And then when it goes through at a certain speed, it looks like a moving pictures. Yes. So it's sort of similar to that. So then you say, okay, well, what good is that to me? How can that improve my life? What can I do with that? Why do I get this dream? And okay, it was answering a question I had, but then later in life, I look back and go, oh, I see why. The dream filled in a big part for me. And when you're trying to look back on your life, especially my age now, you start connecting things. You start, I see why that happened. I see why that happened. That had to happen. And this, and you look at where you are now, and it sort of makes sense. There was a journey there of learning, of experiencing, and so I think for me, I've had this very deep feeling, especially lately, that I'm here to help somehow. I'm here to do something to wake people up to getting the best out of their lives. On YouTube, there's a series called Dr. Quantum, Dr. Quantum. There are animated videos that really explain really simply how some of these things work. And for me, the biggest of all, and it's been a conundrum of science since the 1800s, is the double slit experiment. So if you go onto YouTube and just type in Dr. Quantum, it will probably show you straight away in the drop down, double slit. Choose either one of those videos and it'll explain it. But basically what it was science could never figure out if light was a wave or a particle, right? I mean, to me, that's still, I'm not an academic, I'm not a scientist, it still blows my mind. It's like, what's that mean?
Right.
But so they used this experiment where they had a plate with 2 slits in, and I'm going to make this very simple, the simple version. They fire one photon through one slit, and behind it is some gold foil that they can measure where it landed.
Right.
So it's there. So they go, yeah, okay, we're watching it. Ding, it goes through the slit. Great. We move it over. We put it through the second slit. We see where it was. Yeah. So you move it back again, and then you don't observe it. You turn away. You turn off your recording equipment, everything that can follow it, and then you shoot that photon again, and the photon then goes through the slit. It goes through the second slit. It goes through neither slit, and then it goes through both slits
At the same time.
Yeah. So, and they can see it. They can see it.
So the particle splits.
So what happens is, what you're doing, this is the most crazy thing, is every possible eventuality of that photon happens when you're not looking at it. This is so
interesting.
Everything. So this is what we call it. And I was going to call my book "The Ocean of Probability" at first, right?
Okay.
Because this is what it is. It's just an ocean of probabilities of anything can be anything until a human focuses on it, or an animal or whatever. Because then it acts as you expect it to, which is mind blowing. Because that means you affect the field.
Right. It reminds me of the root of what manifestation is, or a visualization would be.
Yeah.
Because when we really plug into visualization and we meditate and we can really wing it the way most of us can, and you guys should learn if you don't know how, you can recreate your life.
Yes, exactly.
And it's very much like this double slit experiment.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Now the double slit, I want to make a difference here because I want to get confusing. The double slit it already happens. You don't need to do anything. As soon as you observe, and I said this I actually sat on a plane, coming back from China. I was working in China, and I sat next to a guy, and he had emigrated he was a Chinese man. He had emigrated to the US 15 years prior. This is, I think, 2012, I think. And he said his discipline, he was a government scientist for the US, the United States, and he said, my discipline was the human interpretation of light and color. And when I said to him, well, don't we pretty well know all that now? Look at our proficiency with graphics, with colors, what we can do is unbelievable. And he said, we know nothing.
Right.
And now when a government scientist says that, it's like, wow. So then I explained, and I plucked up the courage, can I tell you about a dream I had? And he said, yeah, okay. And I was like, all right. So basically I'm going to do this now, right? So basically I said, I pulled my little table down from the chair.
On the plane.
Right. And I said, look, imagine there's a tennis ball one side, and I tap the tennis ball and it rolls to my left hand, and then I tap it with my left hand and it rolls back to my right hand. Quite simple, right? I said, well, the area you're looking at, which is the same as everything, the area between my two hands, the same stuff, if you like, the same ocean of probability. It was the ball at 1 minute, and as the ball moves away, where the ball was, it's the same stuff. It just becomes the space now. It knows, it's like a hologram. It knows like, okay, I'm now the space because the ball's gone, because it knows you're looking at it. See, now that is hard to get your head around. But so I said, so I said, the ball goes there. What was the ball is now space, and what was the space, as the ball travels into it, becomes the ball.
Right.
Now, these are one of the things that when people hear this, they go, that's crazy, or that's nonsense, whatever. But it just does something up here when it opens up your mind a little bit more. And every time you open your mind a bit, you're more receptive to new information.
Yes.
And when you get that new information, you just can't go back. You can't unsee it. You realize, I have to keep going in this direction because this is real.
Absolutely.
And so the scientist, these are his words. when I showed him that, he turned to me in his, I am shocked. And I was like, yes.
Right.
I've got a scientist with me and talking about my dream.
Right.
That actually said, I'm sure. And he said, do you understand? You have solved the double slit experiment.
Right.
And I'm hearing this too. And I said, yes, I do. I said, it solves everything.
Yes, but now let's just get back to the fact that you had that dream.
Yeah.
I believe you're a messenger in many ways to get that message out.
Yeah.
But the fact that you were seated beside him also points to manifestation and synchronicity. Exactly.
So when you look at these little, when you connect those dots, so I'm a dot connector. I'll hear something somewhere and I remember it and I go, that could be, and I have a liquid belief. I don't say straight away, I fully believe this.
Right.
Like if you said to me, John, I've read your book, but one part you have wrong in there. That's not true. And I would say, okay, if you can give me good enough, show me.
Exactly.
Explain it well enough. I'm not going. I've got my ego in control.
Right.
That's another part of the book. I've tamed my ego where rather than try and defend my point of view and my belief, which we all do.
Yes.
That's why beliefs can be negative a lot of the times because you're defending things and sometimes they're not even working for you.
Yeah.
And so I've tamed my ego down where I'll say, thank you, Cerise.
Yes.
I only want the truth. It's not about me and my ego, it's about the truth.
Yeah, you are very humble in this book because you give a lot of other people credit. Like you tell us in this book where you did your research, the name of the people. You give a lot of credit to a lot of people who have done the work, and you say it. You're like, listen, I'm learning myself. In the book, you say it several times. I do want to get to something though that is in the book that I really want to share with all of you guys as well, because I haven't finished the book yet. It's definitely one of those books where you do have to mark certain points, go back, and you want to research everything because you're so thorough and it's so intriguing, right? But there's one part where was it? The dark side has already lost.
Yeah.
What? I love that part in the book, by the way, because you guys know me. We're always fighting the dark side. What is the dark side in your vision?
First of all, everything in that book, as I stated in the beginning, is my perspectives.
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying it's your truth. We all have our own truths, and so we all have our own perspectives. We're all unique, and we have a slight look on. Even if we both look at the same bottle, you will see it slightly different than I will.
Yes.
And so, that's if that wasn't the case, there wouldn't be a need for two of us, because the universe is very efficient, right?
Yes.
And so we're sort of like part of, I'm going to say, source. All that is the great creator, the infinite creator, or God, right?
Yes.
Not a man sitting on a throne, but it's just consciousness is everything. We are part of that. We're all part of that.
Absolutely.
And being here in the physical is an illusion that we're separate,
right?
Because it's a learning experience, right? So I in my reality, I have a version of you in my reality.
Right.
Mandy will have a different version of you in her reality.
Absolutely. Like, how do I know you see that as blue?
Yeah.
I might see it as purple.
Yeah.
And you see it.
We all have our own perspectives and whatever, right?
Exactly.
And that's what makes life interesting. We're not robots. We're very colourful in our knowledge and our experience and how we interpret things.
Absolutely.
And so the dark side, I'm from my research and my own resonance, what I resonate with, what I feel is true for me, is humanity has been kept down for thousands of years by certain people, whether they are high-ranking families that became royalty from the Egyptian times, Babylonian times, down to now. We've been controlled. We've been controlled, and some will even say, and it's becoming more and more. I see in my sphere that people are saying we are controlled by it's another race. If you look at the Anunnaki that was supposed to that made us, if you like, that's one theory, that we were made by another race.
Cat Williams talks about them.
Right, and so it's becoming quite mainstream. It's not as absurd as it used to sound.
That's right.
And these same people, you're seeing now the disclosure movement is coming out. We're not alone. And to think that we are is ridiculous, really. With the billions of galaxies out there and the billions of planets that could be like ours, where it's the right Goldilocks zone, it's the right heat and temperature, and there's enough oxygen to grow life, and there's billions out there.
Yes.
So it's but I believe humanity is inherently good. I think we're good, and but we've been kept down for thousands of years. Wars and for that to be acceptable, because we don't know any other way. We've been. I mean, look at even today. If one of our prime ministers says we're going to war, why? Why? What is it? Over oil? Is it over? What is it about? And am I going to go and send my sons and daughters, or to go and kill themselves for this?
We're about to embark on World War III.
We still sort of accept it.
Yeah.
And go, well, it has to happen. Russia bad, or Iraq bad, Iran bad, or whatever it is. You accept it. It shouldn't be acceptable.
No, it shouldn't be.
It's an anti-humanity situation, and it shouldn't be acceptable. But we've been pushed down this path where it is, and that isn't us, and that's ending.
Do you think with the Iran war and how Iran is doing right now, I watch a lot of that on television, and they seem to be doing pretty good. And they're saying that the United States right now is out of munitions, they're out of ideas, there's no ramp off for Trump to go off. Do you think that's part of us witnessing the negatives, the dark side slipping off?
Yeah, I do. It's a huge area, but like the Ukraine has been known as it was basically a Nazi stronghold. They still love the Nazis in some towns there. Bandera, the general that raped and massacred the whole town, they celebrate this guy. He was a Nazi. And there's a lot of Ukraine has been known as being also the base of what's called the Khazarian Mafia, right? Have you heard? I don't know if you heard of that.
I don't know too much.
They run all the banking around the world and everything, and they control so many media and so many things. Basically, Khazarian Mafia would be like a Zionist, nothing against Judaism. There's not that.
Right. No,
that's
it's
fine.
not. Zionists are completely different.
It's a Zionist thing, and depending on who you read and who you follow, and it's been a center of biolabs where they're making viruses, money laundering, child trafficking, all these things. Ukraine is a hotbed of that.
I didn't know that.
So now it's sort of being routed out in a way.
Okay.
I mean, people say, "Oh no, we've got to support Ukraine and get Russia." Well, it's all theater.
Yes,
it's all theater. This is one of the things. When you go down the spiritual path, you sort of get what people will call the 30,000-foot view, looking down. You're not just believing the media and saying, "Oh, look, they said this happened." How do you know it happened? The media is 90% of it is just nonsense. I pulled out of media years ago.
Yeah, in the book it says, "You do not change the world you are in. You shift to another version of the world that matches your state." What is reality in your thought, in your own belief system?
Okay, from my perspective, and this is from following many other much more like people that are gifted and can look into these things more than I can.
I would say you're gifted.
Not like they are. I'm like a messenger. I think
a messenger, yes.
I think what it is, I think it's communication.
Yes.
I've been told this, that no, because I wrote a book in 2015 and published that, and I wasn't going to, and someone said, "No, you should. You have a way of," and sometimes you need someone else to tell you, right? And you go, "Oh, okay, maybe I should." And so I'm not an author. I'm an electrician, but you just, why not? You've got one life here in this body anyway, and let's make the most of it, right?
And now you're an author.
Yeah, so you don't say, "Well, next time around I'll do that." No, you've got to do it now, right?
Exactly.
Life is too short, sorry, what was the question again?
Reality in your...
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's just say, I'm going to make this very quick. We are not a body with a soul. We are a soul with a body.
Yes.
We are soul first. We come from God, or all that is, the great the infinite creator, whatever you want to call that, everything expanse of love and intelligence. And we are part of the creator, helping the creator know itself, because it can't compare with anything else. So it comes down through the densities, universes, planets, down to gases, then solids and rocks and animals and trees, and then so spirit says, "Well, I want to have an experience in this physical thing. I know it's a bit tough down there, you know,
Right.
but you can learn so much for soul growth.
Right.
So that's what incarnation is about. You come into a body. Some will say that the only reason we have a physical universe or universe is for our spirit to come and experience and learn
Yes.
and grow.
A human experience.
Yeah. So reality, basically, so in the end, what it boils down to is your body. Some people call it the meat suit. The meat's not yours. I mean, everyone.
Right.
But what it is, it's really the ultimate virtual reality apparatus. Right. It's your body is just the ultimate. Instead of having just the goggles and the handhelds
Right.
and the whatever and the headphones, you've got the 5 senses. You've got the full thing covered. You've also got you've got beliefs. You've got a fully equipped nervous system, and you're here in this reality in this game, right? Now you say, well, what is reality coming at me? Well, reality is basically your state of being, which includes your beliefs, includes your nervous system, how you feel, your thoughts, your imagination. Whatever that overall frequency is, it's like a radio station. You're now tuned to on the dial to a certain frequency. You will now get that back. So you will get that because everything, like one of my heroes is Tesla, right? Nikola
Right.
Tesla, and he said everything is frequency and vibration.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes, it is.
So what you're doing is you match, and apparently now Bashar, this is a guy who channels another entity. It sounds crazy, but you have to listen to it first and make your own mind up. But he said this is actually metaphysical science. There's no getting around it. It's whatever you are at now, it will reflect back to you. So it's a mirror. It's a mirror of your state of being. Once you know that, and you say, well, instead of saying life doesn't just happen to me, I get up in the morning, I wonder how that interview is going to go today, I wonder how that's going to go, oh, I've got an interview with the kids' teacher today, it can't, I wonder how, don't say that. No, you're in control of your reality. You tell reality how your day is going to go. That's the difference. It's a game changer. You say, well, if I'm in the state of being where today's going to be a winner.
Right.
Those things are going to go. I'm going to come away with a big smile on my face. It's going to be great.
Yes.
You put that out now.
Yes, I do that every morning to my son.
Right.
I leave him a
Right.
WhatsApp message.
Yes.
Not every morning, some
Yes.
mornings, and I'll be like, sweetheart, today is going to be great.
That's it.
And he gets back and he's like, today was a great day, Mom.
Right. It's just like, now again, we all know the people that is your glass half empty, half full.
Yes.
We know those people that say whose glass is half full.
Right.
And it's always me. Always happens to me.
Yeah.
And it's like they're walking around with a little rain cloud over their head the whole time.
Absolutely.
And it does happen to them.
And it does, and you can even see it in their energy.
Yes.
Even if they
Yes.
don't open their mouth and say
Yeah.
that, you just kind of can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, we have so much potential control over our reality, but we've never been told this.
Right.
So we've never been explained this to, and they don't want us to know this.
That's part of the dark side,
Yes.
holding people down.
Exactly. And now,
Yeah.
here's the thing as well, I want you to think about, I like people to think about, is when you know this, if you were controlling the world in some form, different from media and government and education and judiciary and military, if you're doing that, now you control the media, you make sure the message gets out, because to people go, oh, another war, or some people, more people were killed here, or now your energy levels, your vibration has gone down a bit.
Right.
What you're doing is everyone, billions of people, hundreds of millions of people reading that media or seeing the media it'll affect their state of being to a state of being that the control people prefer.
Right.
So what you're doing is you're manifesting what they want.
Yes.
Which is more of this. So every time you wake up in the morning, you don't even think about it. You just get up, there's a war here, there's that there. It's just, but just even those thoughts, you're saying, okay, give me more of that.
Right.
And so that's the power we have.
Right.
And through frequency vibration, because we manifest subconsciously or unconsciously 95% of our day. We just go into patterns and loops. You drive to work or whatever, you don't even think.
Right.
You go and have your shower in the morning, you're still half asleep. You're not I do, but you go in the shower and you don't even think about where the soap goes, right? It's a routine. The flannel, the soap, the shampoo, you do the same strokes every day. It's just a pattern, and then you go and brush your teeth or whatever you do. And most of it, and you drive to work, it's all the same. But you are manifesting that. but you're doing it subconsciously. So really up to maximum maybe 5% you can say, no, I envision this. Now look, when you take people, let's say like top salesmen, top businessmen, entrepreneurs, they live and breathe, right, all day. Most of the day they live and breathe their dreams.
Like Jordan did when he used to get all of those three-pointer basketballs and everything. Yeah.
And that's why even in sports, I mean, even when I was coaching my kids when they were like in the 90s, one of the coaches said, before you go to sleep, I want you to visualize, because both my girls were pitchers, softball pitchers. I want you to visualize that ball come in your hand, how it feels, and you know you've just you've thrown a great strike, and they were saying that then. This is all part of manifestation, and so you can't just laugh at it and write it off. There's a lot more to it. So yes.
And isn't that also a lot of people who think negative? Now they wake up in the morning, and even though they're just kind of simultaneously waking up, doing that shower and everything, sometimes they are so focused on the negative that it starts creating a hole of depression, and then they think they're depressed because they're telling themselves they are, and then they go on medication, and then their bodies go from being balanced to disalignment, and then it just continues a whole entire sorrowful existence for them. What do you think depression is? I didn't read that yet.
I know, and I didn't go into that because that gets that. No, I will give you my opinion on that.
Okay.
But I didn't want to go too much into that because it's a big area. It's very I'm not a doctor, I'm not a specialist, and I don't want to delve into that sort of thing. What I will say is what Bashar says. Basically your greatest excitement for you is like your magnetic north on your compass. So you're going in that direction. You're going, and you may not be exactly on it, but you're roughly in you're going that way, and I'm on the right track. I'm doing what I enjoy. I'm hopefully in the future I'll be doing this and this as well, and you're on that path. When you are, because of life happening to you, it doesn't, but because it seems that way, you're not facing that way.
Right.
You've moved away, and the further you move away, the unhappier you are.
Yes.
And then you get to a point where you don't even know yourself. I've never been depressed, so but I do have family that are. But you get to a point where they may even say, no, you're wrong, but whatever. But you get to a point where you are so disconnected from who you really are.
Yes.
And what your dreams are and who you are, and and you're in this funk, and you can't get out of that. Right now, that's why they'll say one of the best things Bashar will say, is to just go for a walk in the woods, get back to nature, because we're from nature.
Yes.
Like when I used to go camping, we used to go from Brampton, right, in Canada, and we'd go out camping a couple of times a year, so we could afford, but it was fantastic. You go, oh, it's lovely, we've got this tent here, we can have a little fireplace there, we can have a beer or whatever. What you don't realize is a huge part of that isn't just that you're relaxing, it's you're back in nature. Your body's going, this is where I belong.
You're aligned.
I'm in line with it, because the trees, now trees are another thing altogether. The whole nature thing, it's a communication extravaganza. So you're there, there's more going on when you go camping than just relaxing and having a beer. Right. You don't realize it.
You're feeling at one with the entire universe.
You're getting back to who you are.
Yes.
So it swings your compass back a bit more, right? Back to who you are.
Right. And you're not focused on all the things of the world, you're focused on just the meaning of the human experience. I do want to go and get everyone on Amazon. Guys, we're going to go now, but we're going to do a part 2. We're going to also do something on my other YouTube channel called The Fifth Dimension, because there's so many topics in this book that I want to cover. But the show is over for today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Can you please tell everyone where they can find The Spiritual Electrician?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, all the .com.ca, it's available there.
Yes, I want you to all go on Amazon and get yourself a copy. There's everything in here that we haven't even skimmed across yet. You go into aliens, you go into so much that a lot of you guys are interested in. We definitely did not do this book justice today. Like we haven't, and we will, because I'm going to have you come back on.
Sure.
And we're going to talk about a lot lot, but guys, just get your hands on the book, get on Amazon, support John, and I do believe you're gifted, but the most gifted people, you're welcome, the most gifted people are the ones that say they're not. You know, the smartest of all men are not the ones that sit around and say, I'm smart, right? So congratulations on
Thanks
this
very much, Teresa. Really appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Got to have you come back. And guys, if you want to be a guest on my show, please give me a shout. Go in the description below and you will be able to find my phone number and all my information on YouTube. Have an amazing weekend. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.
Bye.